Hey everyone, and welcome to another Better Than Netflix Fantasy Football podcast. It is week 12, so the implications on the bubble for the playoffs pretty powerful.
Penultimate round. Here we go.
Yes, likely. I wanted to note at the beginning of the podcast, Derek is showing his true colors. Definitely on a losing streak. And
Can we just make a point? I mean, I did just get done getting the dub. I did just get a dub against the Derek Escobar, the participants. Although I feel like because he's well off the wagon and Travis has replaced him as the de facto number one, maybe we give the guy a break?
no. Consistency is key through all of our videos,
All the way through.
all the way through and through.
Just in case someone jumps in at, the second to last one.
I want them to make sure they understand what they signed up for. And talking
what
about
Derek signed up for.
talking about these week's winners, Uno Master Travis showing that he is top dog right now. Pope without the hat showing strong towards the end of the season. Steelers fan keeping himself in the playoff conversation. Just Incredibles as well in the same spot as Steelers fan. There you are, Mark Connell? No, Mike Smith right there. I like turtles. And yours truly, Commissioner Gordon, on a hell of a win streak to keep himself in the playoff picture.
Hell of a win streak. It pales in comparison to Travis's, who's on a 7-game winning streak. And as you say, he's the guy at the sharp end.
Impressive. That's mine.
I do also want to point out, not only has he won 7 in a row, but also completely obliterating everybody else in the points earned game. He is the high point marker for this particular week, and it's not the first time that's happened with him. This past week, 143.42, and we've seen him there before.
Yeah, it's scary. I think my only chance to the playoffs is getting the last seed, which makes me face Travis in week 1, which,
best case scenario.
Is the best case scenario for me, and it's not a great picture. It does pull me out of the last consolation playoffs, so that puts me in a better position, but still not the best way that I'm excited, looking forward to the playoffs on my side of things. I still have to win out.
Yeah, exactly. Not only do you have to win out, you need to win the next 2. That's going to put you at a 6 and 7 ranking. Best case scenario for you is 6 and 7, but you also need a lot of things going your way. We actually have a multi-way tie. I feel like you missed somebody in the rankings. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you did. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you missed. Who'd you skip? Justin. No, he's there.
No. Trevor.
Trevor's getting no love.
Trevor.
He skipped right over you in the rankings. Anyways, there is a 5-way tie for 5th. Oh, we're going to add him right here like nothing. We'll edit this out. He is the auto drafter getting auto plugged right back into the old standings there. Just like that, plugs right back into the top rankings here. He's actually right on the inside. He is 8th. And we'll talk about tiebreakers and things like that in a second. But 5 people tied, 5 and 6. To your point, Cameron, yes, you do need to win the next 2 to put you in a 6 and 7 record. But you got 5 people in front of you tied, and they need all end up losing.
Yes.
I don't think that's not going to happen.
I looked at the games this week. It's a possibility. All right, we'll get a little deeper into that when we start looking at some filler spots. But if all of them lose and I win this week, it becomes a 6-way tie for the last spot, which is really exciting for me. But
it can't happen. It can't be it.
I will say that Pope, with his win this week, has secured himself into the playoffs.
Now 4 locked in. It was 3.
Yes. So congrats to them. Once again, hell of a ladder still to climb with Travis being up there. And just to run down the standings real quick, Travis is still at top with a 9-2 record. Pretty impressive. If you like that kind of thing. I'm always more of a comeback kid.
Yeah, considering it was you who actually was only losing 2 last year. Just throw that out there.
You win some, you lose some. We have Derek, who now sits in second with an abysmal record of 8-3. Very similar to mine, but better. We have the Benchwarmers and Pope Without a Hat at 7-4. The 5-way tie between Justin, Saved by Odell, Captain Not So Obvious, I Like Turtles, and Steelers fans at 5-6. I am the lone man at 4-7. And still, with everything having to go their way, Bear Beats Beginners and Here for the Gangbang are still a possibility to get in there. Everything has to go. Like for me,
No,
yes,
no,
yes,
no.
Three,
We
four.
figured this out last time. It is impossible for them to get there.
I need them to believe, so they play hard this week. Okay.
Oh.
Yes, this is all about me.
That was not in the notes.
Oh, sorry.
That was not in the notes.
Here, let me add that in real quick. Me first, flirst. So
Flirst.
yes,
Yeah. All right.
but it is actually statistically we could be put into a like. Yes, they would have to.
There's no chance.
No.
There's no chance for them whatsoever. The tiebreakers don't go their way. And maybe this is a good way to segue straight into that tiebreaker question mark we got going on right now, which I brought up to you via the text yesterday or today. I can't remember.
So looking at the standings, just kind of wanted to note everybody that I have it set to head as the tiebreaker, and
Specifically meaning it goes to if you and I play each other and I beat you, if we have a tie, I should have the advantage.
Yes. And we're going to actually just use you as the example here because it's curious. So between the tied teams, we got Steelers fan, Turtles, and Justin. And the way this shapes out...
you did it again.
No.
Left them out. Captain Obvious.
Yeah, but like the way I'm going to... Don't worry about it. I'll get there in a second. So Justin sits in 5th, Mike sits in 7th, and Taylor sits in 9th. And the way the head-to-head battles turned out there is that Taylor in 9th beat Mike, who's in 7th. Mike, who sits in 7th, beat Justin, who sits in 5th. And Justin beat Taylor, who's in 9th. So it's kind of odd. So we're going to do a little more research as well as kind of put it out there to you guys. We can just go, I know, looking at this now, obviously Taylor and Trevor would really like some points for as the tiebreaker. And we may default to that because I don't want anybody to feel like they got screwed. And that is, but I have the ability to adjust the playoff picture.
Okay, so and that's kind of why I was hitting you up because I looked at it and go, hey, wait a second, Taylor beat me earlier, so how am I in front of him? I totally thought I was going to go into this 9th. Mm-hmm. I do understand why I'm in front of Trevor because I actually beat him, but I shouldn't be in front of Taylor because he beat me. And yeah, okay, Justin beat Taylor, but you would still think that would put Justin in front of Taylor and Taylor in front of me. I beat Justin. I mean, it's convoluted. So we almost need a secondary tiebreaker. So I guess we can kind of, as you say, you can manually adjust this. It may be one of those things we kind of do what's best for the league after next week.
Yeah, and if anyone has any issues, we'll just default to whatever NFL chooses. But the way I was going to do it is, for instance, at this point, I would have put almost a points for as the tiebreaker. So to kind of change everything up a little, not change, but like do what I think should be the correct positioning.
Yeah, I mean, the advantage goes to Taylor in that regard. I mean, I've got the lowest points for. Mm-hmm. We're all tied. It looks to me that it would put me in 8th and Trevor 9th. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct. No, you're right. I'm looking at it. No, Trevor has the most points for between the ties.
But you're saying you would do that primarily, not secondary to record, like head to head.
No, I would. So like with our situation between you three, because that's the only research I've done is between you, Justin, and Taylor. I basically all of your wins would cancel out and we would go to points.
Gotcha.
And then
interesting.
So I would have to obviously sort it out to the next set of guys and see what everyone's record is versus Odell, Captain, and everything else.
Right.
So I'll do a little more research to see if that's an option. If the league just wants everything to stay the same as NFL does it, because I can change it, but I also don't it doesn't show me. Oh, they're here because of this. So we can talk.
Yeah, and the other thing we want to think about too. I mean, granted, we're talking about how to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
But once the playoffs start, more ties are going to come into play. So now we're going to talk about seeding and some of the other things that could shake up. So, to your point, We could go NFL and let it ride. That's the easiest way to go.
Yeah.
But then we make some adjustments for the next season, or you may have some more work on your hands as we get through the playoffs.
Yeah, and I'm being the commissioner, I'm willing to put it into NFL's hands, and then we just kind of set a precedent that I need to adjust this earlier in the season.
I would be willing to be lazy too.
As well as like if everyone watches this and everyone votes on it, we can change it headed into the final week. But it's got to be a group decision in that aspect, because I don't want anybody thinking that I'm kicking them out of the playoffs because it gives me a better chance. So, but on that note, I'm pretty stoked to say that it's going to be an interesting Turkey Day weekend. As you noted, and actually I talked to Taylor earlier, his Thanksgiving got a whole lot less exciting as the Steelers-Ravens game got moved to Sunday.
That's right. It's going to make things a little bit more interesting as we start taking a look at lineups. That's for damn sure.
For sure. And let's jump into lineups. Who do you want to tackle first?
Well, I mean, on my screen, it's myself and bench warmers. That's going to be a locked-in player or a locked-in team with the bench warmers. Logan has already locked his program in. I have not. And to your point, we do have some Pittsburgh and Baltimore games on the docket. He's got Connor on the running back game, and he's got Andrews on the Baltimore side of things. We're talking running back and then tight end. The one thing I want to point out here, at least on both sides, we each have, whether they be starting or on the bench. I'm seeing a lot of, and I'll talk about it here because there's a lot of them, but it's going across the board for everybody. There's a lot of injuries popping up in practice. There's a lot of, they were cool last week, or maybe they had a bit of a stub toe or some shit. But now you go into this week, and actually it seems like people are getting hurt, or the injury is getting worse or aggravated during practice. And that's going to be a situation where, for instance, for Logan, Hayden Hurst didn't have a moniker. Now he does. Brown didn't. Chark didn't. He's got 3 players that entered the week healthy, allegedly, and now are not. Andrews entered with a bit of a knock, and it's still there. Where I'm really going with this is, okay, for someone like me, it's a big deal because I'm trying to get into the game. For him, does it have any playoff implications? Right now, we've got 2 weeks to play. He's locked in. Maybe we start seeing some things fly around on the waiver wire or trades or what have you, because we don't have a trade deadline that went by for the NFL guys. But, yeah, it could be interesting here as we talk about playoffs and who's going to be on the lineups.
No, for sure. And obviously you guys, there's no more bye week, so everyone's looking good there. And you guys have your team filled out. Yeah, questionability. Is Logan going to go hunt for another person to fix that, or is he just going to ride it out and ride them into the sunset and not really care about this week? I need Logan to win to put you in a precarious position. So,
and no one's going to rest on their laurels, right? Like, it's not like Logan's going, oh yeah, I could lose this week, and he's going to try to. No, he's going to try to get the dub, and he's going to try to do well. It really comes down to, if you have a definitive injury or whatever, do you have to make an adjustment?
For sure, and I think we'll see that in another game here in a minute, as well as a talking point around one of the trades that I'm privy to, which will be in our third game we'll talk about. So let's jump into Justin's and Pope Without a Hat. And once again, Pope locked himself in, looking good. Justin, he's looking okay. Still needs to win a couple more games this season to really seed himself in.
And he's one of those 5 and 6 guys, one of the top 5 or the 5 ties.
And as you said, like, you have the Houston running back Johnson on his bench with an IR. I think that's worthy of a drop for him, as he has no time to use him. Like, he has to go hunting on the waiver wire possibly for a better replacement for his running backs. And just kind of to fill the rest of his rosters, have some backups in, possibly.
Yeah, and specifically on the IR, I mean, I could raise my hand and say I got a couple people on the IR. I actually just picked them off the waiver wire, but that's because I think they're coming off of IR here very, very quickly. David Johnson just placed on IR 2 weeks ago. So that means he's still got another week, which means he's out this week for sure, maybe the next week. And at that point, we're talking he's of no use to Justin right now to get into the playoffs. Does he drop him to try to go find something? Big question mark.
Yeah, and both their games looking pretty good. Both healthy on side. Pope has some weak spots at running back, which he probably needs to go tackle before the playoffs get started. Although he's locked in, he's not the strongest one going in there.
True story.
And actually, this upcoming game between Uno Master and Steelers fan, there's some trade talks between the two, trading some wide receivers for tight ends and such, as Taylor's hunting for a better tight end than Higbee, and Uno Master Travis is trying to better his team overall.
Which is going to be tough to do if you start looking at just his projections. Let's real quick run down the projections, and this is going to be why this guy is leading the league and why he's got the most points earned. Real quick, Mahomes 22.25, Davis 12.6, Henry 12.9. Thanks a lot, Cameron. Allen 4.6, 14.0. Hopkins 13.0, Waller 11.45, Jefferson 15.2, which means all the big points, all double digits, almost all in the teens. And then of course your kicker and defense are going to be hanging out in the sixes like they always are. When you go into a week with a projection of 114 like Travis does, you got to scratch your head when he's trying to make things better. And although he does have McCaffrey still hanging out on the bench, this is gonna. He's holding out for like the Super Bowl at this point because I don't see McCaffrey being a game player here.
No, for sure. And he's he's got Freeman's coming off IR soon. Gronkowski is not going to put up anywhere near the numbers of Waller. Is he going to just drop him, or is he going to just hold him on the bench just in case? Because if Waller goes down, it's scary. But yeah, that's hard to get up to. And Taylor needs a win this week, so he's got to get some luck out of. He's got Chubb out there. He's got Metcalf. He's got some players that can put out some points. So he's got to just make sure they shine bright this week in particular.
Yeah, and he's definitely got some wide receiver love there. Interesting, he's got Dobbins on the bench, though, with the COVID deal. They're going to push that game out till Sunday like we talked about. Roethlisberger on the bench, not going to get used this week because he's got Josh Allen on the plug-and-play there for QB going against Los Angeles Chargers. That's a great matchup for him. So it's definitely all to play for between these guys. Advantage Travis. I definitely want Taylor to lose, as you do, and all the rest of us on the bottom end. But a couple question marks with Devontae Adams, Tyler Higbee there. Be interesting to see how this thing shakes out as we get a little deeper in the week.
No, and let's jump into the Trevor versus Shelby game. Captain Not So Obvious, auto drafting king versus Bears beats beginner. The lone lady wolf in the league. Shelby not playing for a whole lot right now.
Not to be last.
Yeah, and I kind of need her to overcome Trevor, as do you. It's not looking great. He has a very similar lineup to Travis's. As we got Kyler Murray, Henderson, Sanders, Thomas, CeeDee Lamb, Travis Kelce, and Kupp all in the double digits. Shelby's team also looking very good, coming off of the Cowboys' just dreadful season. She also turned her season around, picked up some players off the waiver wire, looking decent, but it's still 10 points down going in here. Still has a day to work the waiver wire, still looking with a chance, and let's not counter out quite yet.
No, you can't counter it just yet, but again, we're talking about some of these cues popping up here. Thomas from New Orleans and Murray on Arizona. Murray hobbling around a little bit there and this last week, so I'll be curious to see if he plays the whole game, if there's any issues there. I guarantee you that Shelby's not a big fan of seeing that Q next to Kamara's name. Big point gain right there. Frank Gore pickup for her on the waiver wire there with the Jets going against Miami. So that was a good move if Gore does get the love. The other running back they were going to use, actually Perrine or whatever the last name is, actually injured. So more love to Gore. That's a big move. One thing I want to look at here, I didn't make mention of it on the matchups earlier, but start looking at some of the defenses that we're seeing. That's how I was able to win my matchup against Derek and some of these other players that usually score big points. They're finally deeper in the year going against some bigger defenses. And we take a look over at Captain Not So Obvious. Washington against CeeDee Lamb, Tampa Bay with Kelce, although Tampa Bay. Anyways, Chicago, Crosby, Pittsburgh, and Ravens. So it's going to be a little bit interesting to see how this thing shakes out just because the projections say it. So it doesn't mean it actually is.
No, for sure. And that's projections have been proving us wrong week by week. So Shelby also on a killing 7-game losing streak. Not looking great. Let's we're gonna jump into my favorite game of the year. I call it the revenge game. Must win for me as well to keep my name in the same playoff contention. Really was hoping that Jameson Winston was going to be starting for the participants, but that's not what it looks like here.
I don't think he has Jameis Winston at all.
You know,
he's got Teddy Bridgewater, who's plugged in. He had Burrow.
You know, when
he
we
dropped
first,
Burrow.
Let me just tell you, Derek and I talked before the year started, and he's like, "I'm really feeling like Peyton Manning's gonna be my quarterback this year." He retired a couple of years ago, Derek, but I'll keep that in mind.
And then that's when you were like, "How about Andrew Luck? How do you feel about him?"
It's weird.
You take a look at these lineups, though, and to your point, you obviously need to do what I just did last week, and that is pick off the participants. Longtime front runner, now kind of slipping down the charts, P2 in the standings. What it comes down to, I think, is defenses. Bridgewater against Minnesota, that's advantage Bridgewater. Jones couldn't get it done last week, but going against the KC defense that is still a little bit tough. Cleveland streamed him last week. 22 points for me and with Cleveland, but Jacksonville, another good lineup. Robinson should be able to punch holes through that. New York Giants against Boyd. Unfortunately, no Burrow. So what's going to happen with Cincinnati? They could be a lame duck there. Atlanta and Las Vegas, that should be a big scoring game. Cincinnati against Giants. Minnesota again. Philly, Tennessee. Your side of the ball, there is no defense. Oh, okay, Washington and Amari Cooper. So you guys both have CD. Did I see CD Lamb?
Yes, that was last game.
No, that was the other game. So not a lot of defense. You do have McKinnon against LA. That's not a good move. No. Get rid of McKinnon. Do you have everything on the bench? Where's the running back when you need him? Edmonds. No.
I already have both running backs in there. I can't have let's just fill out the entire Arizona
This
Cardinal
isn't Cleveland.
backfield.
This is not Cleveland.
It is not Cleveland for sure.
Dump Edmonds. So if you have, for some reason, by the way, I was the only person who did anything on the waiver wire this week. Everybody else is sleeping.
Is key. I'm over here believing in my team.
Yeah. All right. Your record says that too. Anyway, so we have one more game. I think we still got to talk about Odell and Gangbang.
Yes, we do. And man, isn't that the just
come on, Casey?
Choice of words. Casey hasn't given up on his season quite yet, and now he's really vying not to lose. So he's got some potential here. He's gonna move his team around. Right now, it's got Lamar on the bench. Don't think that's the greatest idea. So hopefully, he touches the team up a little bit to.
Pittsburgh's a hell of a defense. It's tough.
Yeah, but the way Tom.
Look at his two options: Tom Brady versus KC, or Lamar Jackson and Pitt.
You know, that is a hard. I would go pick up Joe Burrow. I think the non-negative points he can relax and just let the rest of his team do the work.
You're kicking them when they're up and you're kicking them while they're down. What a hell of a commissioner we have here, everybody.
Everyone's treated equal.
Consistency.
Consistency is key here. I am the consistent one, but once again, unfortunately for you and I, Mike, it looks like Odell's got a mega chance to kind of walk away with this one unless Tyreek Hill, Kareem Hunt kind of blow up for Casey's team. Here.
True story. The only thing we got to look at here is the number of Qs I see on the other side of the ball. Swift, McLaurin, Shepard, all with the questionables. Obviously, it doesn't mean a bunch in this game because they usually get rid of those Qs. But if we don't see them practice or they keep it limited as we move on, it could get worse in a hurry. Although there's some bench love on both sides these guys could play with.
Yeah, not much to look at, but it's there, and so that might be a mighty different looking picture come game day tomorrow.
Yeah. Not like there's a lot to play with on the waiver wire either.
No, waiver wire real thin in week 12.
Yes, quite. Especially when I'm picking them all up.
All of them, right here, all of them. I think
prerequisite: they have to be on injury reserve, though.
You have to, and it's known. You know they're there.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. So we don't have much left. I mean, we're talking about people trying to get in the game. We got 4 of them locked in. It's been quite fun. If you look at the actual standings, 5 people on a regular basis tied, and just that bubble of trying to get in the game. 2 weeks to play, every game counts. This is going to be the end all be all for you, my friend, and it's going to be pretty damn close for some of the rest of us here in the tiebreakers.
100%. Hopefully, the games can go my way and keep the playoff bubble looking a little more interesting, so it's not as defined. Everyone in the league, make sure if get your vote in, see if you want to change anything. I will leave it the same if no one talks about it, or so just keep that in mind that this is the opportunity that we can bring up a discussion and chat it up, as
To
well
change
as
the tiebreaker or not, right?
correct.
Yep.
As well as looking into next season a little bit. I know there's a lot of season left this week, but I want to start thinking, hey, this is something I should have tackled before. Also, guys, want you guys' opinions on, do we need to change anything for next season? Possibly roster changes, points changes, anything like that. Just kind of throw some options out there. The winner of the season, I will heavily favor any changes they want to make. I can easily veto that as well because I'm not doing 2 quarterbacks. But just keep that in mind, guys, because I feel like there's room for growth here. So, and on that note, Mike, I know projections really treating me well this week, but as always, they mean
Jack shit.
thanks, guys, and we'll see you next week, hopefully with my name still in the playoff contention.